OBICHI'STV. If you're joining this live section for the first time, please do well to subscribe. Be part of this journey. Do us a favor, subscribe. Let's grow together. Be part of the OBICHIS community. Be part of the OBICHIS community. If you're just subscribing for the first time, do well to do well. If you're just joining our live section for the first time, do well to subscribe. Do well to like our videos. Do well to comment on our videos. Do well to share them as well. So today I thought to have this conversation on the concept of law of attraction. This is actually a conversation I am supposed to record offline and make an upload of it. I'm likely going to still record it offline and make an upload of it because it's a conversation that I need to have in this community. It's a conversation I believe that if any one of you out there is able to understand how it operates, I believe strongly that it is going to be one of those things you will understand and make the most out of your existence here on earth. So if you can see the description of this live, you will see that I titled it The Law of Attraction. The Law of Attraction. In the short I uploaded earlier before I went on this live, I said something like in our subsequent videos, we are going to tilt our conversation in the direction of explaining how the law of attraction works. The law of attraction is as real as the law of gravity. And I'm not making claim of having mastery of this law of attraction. I'm not claiming that I have understood it in its totality and all of that, but I made contact with a few persons in my journey of seeking to know why I am here, in my journey of trying to understand why I am here and my purpose and the rest of it, in my journey of trying to understand what paradigm shift is all about, what vibration, frequency, and all of this. In my journey to understand all of this, I made contact with great minds who were making claims of knowing what they are doing when they were interpreting those laws. So now, when I made contact with them, I subscribed to their school of thought, now, which is a risk. I subscribed to their school of thought, and these laws checked out in my hand, which automatically has also brought me to a place of authority where I can communicate, where I can teach these laws. Now, teaching these laws, communicating these laws, communicating them with evidence. I'm teaching them with evidence, with proof. I've also made an upload that if we are going to talk about the things we say, if we are going to just talk about things, not show things, it becomes very difficult for people to understand the things we are talking about. It becomes very difficult for people to subscribe to the things we are talking about. Now, mind you, I was able to subscribe to these master teachers. I was able to subscribe to these coaches because what they were talking about, they had evidence beside them. They were not just talking about these things, they were also showing these things. So it was the conviction, it was part of the convictions that I had that actually made me to subscribe to them. Just imagine that you are making contact with someone like Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is one of the people I made contact with in my journey, in my seeking journey, that helped me to understand what paradigm shift is all about, what frequency is all about, what vibration is all about, what more emotions are all about. Bob Proctor stood in a very powerful position to help me understand those concepts. Now, understanding the concept of faith, I moved in the direction of Bishop David Oyedepo. Now, look at these guys that I just mentioned now. Bob Proctor, if you know Bob Proctor, you will know he is someone that has evidence of what he is talking about. He's someone that came to the teaching environment with proofs. So it becomes very difficult for you to argue, for you to doubt the things he is talking about. If you make contact with someone like Bishop David Oyedepo and he's teaching you the concept of faith, I mean, it becomes very difficult for you to doubt that he knows what he is talking about because he has, been able to manifest those things in reality. You see, one major problem we face when we hear people teach certain concepts is the problem of not seeing the evidence of what they are teaching around them, not seeing the proof of what they are teaching around them. It's always very difficult to believe people at that point in time. Look at this guy in the Holy Bible. What's his name? Joseph by name. When he had his dream, when he conceptualized, when he made contact with the big picture, when he saw where he was going and, told the siblings, they didn't quite believe him. And I think it messed with their head to the point that they sold him. I was listening to an audiobook this morning. That cited that particular narrative, and the author of the book made it look as though Joseph did the wrong thing by telling the siblings the dream he had. But I completely argue in the opposite direction, that it was necessary and it was right for Joseph to tell the siblings the dream he had, because it is by reason of telling these people your dream, if it's by reason of communicating your dream, that you will attract the negative force that will, act on you to put you at a place where you will, develop the capacity that will help you to get to where you're going. Because listen to these guys, there is no such thing as avoiding failure, avoiding difficulties, avoiding problems and all of that. It is in these problems, in these difficulties, that opportunities are hidden. The alchemical dictum is instaq quelinus inventor, in field it is found. If you are someone who is going to go to a very powerful height in life, automatically you have to go down very well. Yeah, the depth of your pain, the depth of your failure, or the magnitude of your failure will be directly proportional to the height you will get to. For Christ to get to the right hand of the Father, he went to Gehenna, he went to where hellfire, right? So the depth you go down will determine the height you will go up. This is how these principles operate. So let's make peace with that. I had that problem at the earlier beginning, at the early days of my journey, the problem of believing certain master teachers, certain persons that were claiming to know certain principles and certain laws, because they were not having evidence at that particular phase. Are you getting my point now? And also, if you're someone who has made contact with something, a dream that is monumental, if you're someone who has made contact with a dream that is monumental, I want you to know that it is important you begin to communicate this dream. It is very, very important you begin to tell people around you the things you are making contact with. Now, I cited an example with someone like Bishop David Oyedepo. Guys, think about this. At the early 90s, Bishop David Oyedepo was making a claim that he's going to be the richest pastor in the whole world, that is going to fly on jets, he's going to do this, he's going to do all of that. Now, after a few decades, let me put it at that, after a few decades, he started manifesting it. He's at his a generation plus now, 45 plus years in ministry, and look at where he is. Now, when he was making such claims at the earlier beginning, people were looking at him like he was talking bullshit. In fact, to the point that some members were even telling him that he should stop saying things like that, that he is embarrassing himself and he is putting shame to himself and to the members. Many people made sure that he stopped saying things like that. No, that was the understanding those guys had, and they were not in his mind. They were not seeing what he was seeing. So look at this. The same thing with me. The kind of dreams I've made contact with, the kind of vision I've made contact with, the people, when I tell people around me where we are going, they barely understand it. They barely understand it. In fact, they even try to make it look as if these things can never, ever be possible. But I know what I saw. I know what I made contact with, and that is where we are going. So the law of attraction is not one spiritist hoax or one thing that someone is trying to use to, bamboozle you or any such like that. It works. What the problem is, the level of religiosity you might be operating in that will make it difficult for you to pay attention to understand this concept. The law of attraction works. So the two persons I made contact with in those early stage of my seeking journey, like I've mentioned, is someone like Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor made me to understand that we are constantly floating at an ocean of motion. That is to say that everything on earth is vibrating. Everything on earth is vibrating. Everything on earth is vibrating. So, which is trying to communicate that everything here is based on energy. Everything here is based on energy. So whatever energy you are operating on per time, and whatever frequency you are able to raise your energy to will determine what you will attract in physicality. And mind you, everything you have in possession today, everything you can touch that is tangible, that is in physicality, in your house, in your office, wherever you are, you attracted. It was first an idea, it was first in your mind before it came to reality. So Imagine that you can attract things to yourself and you didn't know that there is a law that if you understand it, it makes it easier for you to do those attractions, for you to bring those things to yourself. Now, I am here now to try to communicate to you how part of how this law of attraction works. That's why I came live on this YouTube platform today. I want to try to explain it to you guys how this law of attraction thing works. Now, before I even go into that, I want you to first of all understand that regardless of what you may have heard about the law of attraction and how you can use your mind to bring anything you want to yourself, guys, it will obey the law of process. It will obey the law of process. Nothing of value is easy. Nothing of value is easy. Whatever you may have conceived and believed, I have said it over and over, you will achieve it, but you will work for it. You will put in the work, you will show up, and you will attract it. Now, I'm going to center this teaching of the law of attraction. I'm going to center it on social media platforms. For anyone that is joining this live today and you are interested, you are really interested in building capacity in any social network platform, you are really interested in, attracting the number of people you want to be in your community. If you are someone like that in this life, I want you to know that it is possible. I want you to know that it's possible. I want you to know it is possible. And if you are someone like that, please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. This live I am recording here is also a live that will stay here for my future self. That is to say, in no distant time, I will refer back to this video to make you guys understand that these things I was teaching in a day like this, at a time like this, has actually checked out. It has actually come to pass. See, when I was understanding, when I went into the study of the law of attraction, which also took me to understanding the concept of faith in a religious environment. Someone like, let me not mention them, one of the master teachers that broke it down to me said something like this. He said, if I actually understood that these things work, to its minute details, if he actually understood it, that where he is today, it will be like ×2 of where he would have tapped into, where he would have called for. I don't know if you understand this. I think it's someone like Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey said if he was able to conceptualize it, that the things he was writing on his vision board, if he was able to conceptualize it, that the things he wrote on his vision board are like he is going to be in it, like he's going to be living in it now, that he would have, kind of multiplied it or expanded it or kind of tripled or doubled it, right? Because somehow, everything you are able to put up in your vision board today, if you are going to be able to pursue it, you will attract it to yourself. And it will get to a point where you will be like, oh my God, I wish I had multiplied this. I wish I had expanded this. I wish I had, tripled it. Things like that. Yes. So whatever you can conceive, you will manifest. Look at this. In this channel, I think I have made it so clear that we are pursuing 3 million subscribers at the OBICHIS. Now, knowing that we are pursuing 3 million subscribers, it is going to take a whole lot of work. It is going to take a whole lot of showing up. It is going to take a whole lot of studies. It is going to take a whole lot of commitment, a whole lot of intentional living, and all of that to make it come to pass. Now, it will take time, but we are going to achieve it. Now, this is the first goal we are setting and pursuing. I'm not saying that is not the limit to what we can do. That is not the limit to how many persons that we can bring to this community. But I have this thing with the number 3. So we are working with the number 3. That is 3 million. Now, this 3 million, we will first of all start with 3 people. It will get to 30, it will get to 300, it has exceeded 300 already, it will get to 3,000, it will get to 30,000 and 300,000 and all of that. It will grow in threes, and you guys will watch it come to pass. It will come to pass. Now, what have I just done? I have spoken into the universe. I've spoken into the universe. You can hear this. If you didn't join this live and you watch this video afterwards, you will listen to it and you will hear it. And guess what? You will watch it come to pass. I'm beginning to explain. I'm beginning to teach you guys how this law of attraction works. I have started this interpretation. I've started this conversation. Now, I just use myself as a practical example of how the law of attraction works. Guys, we are going to attract first. The first goal set for this channel is 3 million subscribers. We are going to attract these 3 million subscribers and you are going to watch it come to pass. How will you watch it come to pass? By first of all, subscribing to this channel. And for every other person that will watch and listen to this video that will subscribe, the 3 million people will gather just like that. Now, have we set our mind at it? Yes. Will it come to pass? Yes. What will stop it? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what will stop it. Nothing. There is nothing out there. You and I are wired to become anything we can set our mind at. Anything we can set our mind at. Now, where the problem is putting in the work that will, guarantee what we have set our mind at. Putting in the work. If you are going to put in the work, if you're going to show up, if you are going to run with it, manifestation is in view. Manifestation in view. So, is the law of attraction real? Yes. 5 years ago, where I am today was a dream captured, a vision captured. And I put in the work, ran with it, and here we are at a phase of manifestation. Now, where we are going in the next 5 years, have we been able to conceptualize it? Have we been able to picture it? Yes. Will it come to pass? Yes. How will it come to pass? That is not your business. That is not my business. We don't have any business with how it will come to pass. Our own is being able to conceive it, and being available, right, to pursue it and watch it come to pass. It is as simple as that. Now, that is actually what the law of attraction is. However, you may have been hearing and understanding or all of that, I do not know. But it is you being able to conceive something, believe it, putting in the work, and not wavering for one bit that anything will make it not come to pass. You not wavering for one bit, because if you waver, if you lose track of that conception, if you lose track of that your belief, automatically nothing for you. It is scriptural. It's either you are hot or you are cold. I mean, you cannot exist at the border of things, right? So we have been able to conceive it. My brothers, my sisters, that's where we're going. So are you someone who is on a journey to build a wonderful community here in the internet space, and you are able to conceive the number of people that are going to become that are going to make up your community? I want you to know that there is nothing that will stop this number of people from coming together. And if you are also going to be able to make yourself available to, build capacity that you will use to serve these people, I mean, what else is standing in the gap for making your dreams come to pass? Nothing. I'm serious. I'm telling you guys, I mean, nothing. So, having said that and having understood that, let's try to, tilt this conversation a little deeper in the concept of vibration and frequencies and paradigm shift. Let's see if we can have that conversation while on this live section. So guys, like I was saying earlier, I made contact with someone like Bob Proto who made me understand what ocean of motion means and by reason of further studies and all of that, I was also able to understand that, guys, we are at a constant motion here on earth, and that motion is energy. Now, speaking of energy, we loosely say something like emotion, negative emotion, positive emotion. Now, that is energy emotion, because everything is always emotion. Everything is always emotion. Everything is always emotion. Now, if the energy you are making contact with, if the energy you are making contact with per time is a negative energy, the things you are going to manifest, I mean, like, what it will give birth to is what we will refer to as native nothingness. If what you are operating with per time is negative energy, it simply means that you are going to continue to be in a rat race. You're going to continue to cycle at a place of nothingness, which is why you must stay away from every environment, every association, every company that continue to, expose you to a negative energy, because nothing is bettered from a negative energy. Nothing. I said absolute nothing. If you are someone who is often operating at a negative energy, manifestation is what we refer to as native nothingness. So, but if you are able to put yourself in an alignment, in a frequency, in an energy level, if you're able to put yourself in an energy level, remember that I said that energy is always going to be emotion, which is like, if you are always going to be putting yourself in an emotion that is wonderful, that is super fantastic, right? Automatically you will continue to manifest things in reality, things that are tangible. Now, what will bring you to a place of manifesting like something that is even more meaningful than you are seeing around you? That will be determined by how much you've been able to narrow down the things that you are sending into your subconscious mind. If you are able to narrow down the things you are sending into your subconscious mind and make it if you're able to narrow it down, that is to say that you are able to, take it to a place where it can be said that this is something of a great quality. This is something of meaning. This is something of value. If you are going to be able to, narrow it down to the point that it will be indeed categorized as meaningful or of great quality, then automatically your manifestation is going to be something quite meaningful. That's what it means. Now, how do you do this? Listen, guys. There is a constant fight we face by the day in the internet. Not just by the internet. The moment we put on our television, there are different channels that are warring for us to watch them. There are different programs that are wrestling for us to watch them, and all of that. And at the same time, there are things happening around us in our immediate environment that are calling for our attentions per time. Now, you being able to focus on one thing per time is where that problem is. Because, guys, everything is calling for your attention. Everything is calling for my attention. For us to be able to disconnect from a whole lot of these things calling for our attentions and, focus on something quite narrow, quite simple, quite pristine, that's when we can actually now manifest that which we really needed, that which we really wanted. And how can you be able to do this, my brothers, my sisters? That takes me to the one thing I have constantly recommended: books. Nothing quiets the mind. Nothing quiets the mind like reading. Nothing quiets the mind like reading. You cannot be reading an important document that is exposing you to quality information that can change your life and you are taking phone calls. You can't be reading and you are responding to emails. You can't be reading and you are watching televisions or scrolling your phones. You can't be reading and be in a noisy environment and be in a place where you are going to be constantly distracted, else you are not going to pick up the information in that document. So what can quiet your mind more than book? You tell me. Nothing so far can quiet your mind like books will quiet your mind. Yes, yes. So some of these, for instance, there are. This is going to be a different life altogether. There are lots of books out there. There are a lot of books out there. But what matters is reading the right books at the right time. Reading the right books at the right time. And you need to also know that there are different kinds of readers. There are different kinds of readers. There are recreational readers. There are, most especially those that are coming from developed nations where they have, at least where they are no longer fighting for what to eat. The basic things of life, what to eat, electricity, water, the rest of it. People in such environments, many of them in such environments don't quite read to seek for quality information for direction or the rest of it. But people in a developing nation, you discover that our reading most of the time are likely going to be non-fiction, things that are likely going to help us tilt towards fulfillment of purpose and discovery of purpose and the rest of it, right? Okay, good, because we are starting from the scratch and we are developing from the scratch and the rest of it. But if you are someone who is in a developing nation and you are someone who still reads recreational and the rest of it, which is still powerful, it can also quiet your mind, right? It can also quiet your mind. But what matters is how you manage these informations and how you use those informations for your own good first and for the good of people around you. So in a completely different life, I will explain the kinds of books we have, the kinds of readers we have, and how we do the right things that will bring us to the right place at the right life. I am having a persistent caller on this live. I'm having someone that is calling me on WhatsApp call. I am surprised that the WhatsApp call is still going through. So maybe we'll come to the end of this live today. We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. For all of you that joined, all of you that participated in this live today, I want you to know that I am indeed beyond grateful. Thank you for joining, and do have a wonderful week ahead of you. Bye, guys.